They're programmed to be peaceful, like you. But for some reason, it's not catching.
Donald Trump.
What?
They suppress the lighting, the glycosylated salts, and then boop, boop, boop. Angry turtles. We don't like it.
There's the rub.
So, you remember how I said long ago that we are walking down a knife-thin pass through 1,000 years of darkness to maybe skip most of it. Razor thin. And a lot of things need to happen and they need to fall in place in a certain order, and it's all got to get done. And when Donald Trump got in, I think he understood exactly what I was talking about. I think that's great. So the first year that Trump was in office, second time around, he did a whole lot of foreign things. We stopped a whole lot of wars, got a whole lot of trade deals, made a lot of chaos. We got shit done, right? Everybody's kind of pretending for the crowd that they're really upset, but whatever. So, to cap off the year of the attempt of world peace, he did this, right? You know I love to use visual aids whenever I can, right? So the problems, realistically, is Russia and China, right? Realistically, they're the problems, right? There are problems because Venezuela and Iran are selling them oil, which then they can use to help Iran fund terrorism, right? All over the place. And then that just kind of weakens everybody who is not Russia and China, right? That's kind of how that works. So, what he did was, he took Maduro to stabilize Iran, right? See what that's done to the equation? Now you got Russia and China, right? Oh, it's so difficult to do. Russia and China, right? And then we don't have this shit anymore. So now we don't have that shit anymore either, except every once in a while whenever they can afford it, you know. And then that kind of means that Russia and China just kind of sits there and stagnates because, you know, they're communists, so they don't do anything good. So, right? See, that's the end goal for last year. That's the beginning of the end. The end is all of this collapse is gonna happen throughout this year. It's gonna be a lot of fun to watch him solve the fucking Ukraine war, and then everybody's gonna be like, oh shit, well, you stole Nazi. Right? So, well, if that's what we did last year, we fucked with the rest of the world, what are we doing this year? Are we ever going to do things domestically? Well, I got an answer for you. So, what we got here now on this bottom part is, right, you got the Democrats, right, and they get in a shit ton of illegals, right? And this gets them votes, and it gets them seats in Congress, right? So, they bring in a shit ton of illegals, and then the illegals give them votes where they can, and then they get a bunch of seats off of it, and they get fraud, right? They get the illegals to do this fraud stuff, and then what they do is the fraudsters turn into donors, right? And then the donors give the money back to the Democrats, and then the Democrats funnel some of that to the illegals, some of that to leftists to go out and fight to protect the illegals, right? So the voting and the seats goes up to the Democrats, the money, and it goes around donors and the Democrats, right? And it goes out to everybody, right? So what we're doing now is we're getting rid of that shit, right? We're getting rid of that. Also, they're working on making that more secure, so we're not going to have to worry about that so much anymore. And because of the whole census thing, we're going to not count illegals in the census anymore, as it should have always been. And then that's going to take away a bunch of those fucking seats, right? Which means they're not going to be able to vote as much legislation in to allow the fraud, right? So then the fraud's going to dry up, which means that donations are also going to dry up, which means they're not going to have money to fund the retards to go out and do dumb shit. And then it's just going to be the Democrats all alone, just like Russia and China all alone. All our little enemies are going to be all alone. And it really makes me wonder, without all the additional seats in foreign enclave areas, right? Without all those additional seats, and without all of the money, the probably billions of dollars, absolutely millions of dollars, and to the tunes of hundreds of million dollars, once all that fraud starts drying up, it really makes me wonder how much money, because we've always wondered, this Democrat shit, nobody fucking thinks that men should be able to play women in sports. Nobody thinks it's a great idea to encourage people's fucking mental delusions. Nobody thinks that any of their dumb fucking ideas are good shit. Nobody thinks it's a good idea to have fucking windmills everywhere. Nobody thinks it's a great idea to cut down all the forests so that we can put up fucking solar panel farms. Nobody thinks any of this is a good idea. Nobody likes their fucking electric car. And if you do, you like it all the way up to where you have to go to the gas station and sit in your car for like 3 hours to hopefully get enough of a charged up to fucking get home. No, nobody likes this shit. Alright? All the Democrat dumb shit, it's dumb shit. Nobody likes it. And nobody likes to have a fuck ton of illegals in the country. Nobody likes it. It really makes me wonder how far they're actually going to get when they don't have the illegals to fraud the public, to fucking prop them up, and to give them additional seats and shit. Really makes me wonder that once we start really cracking down on the illegals being a part of the nation that they're here illegally in, like once we really kind of crack that shit down, it really makes me wonder exactly how many, right now it's so 50-50. I don't think so. I honestly don't. I don't think it's 50-50. I think we cut through all the fraud and we cut through all the horse shit. We find out that it's actually a hell of a lot more like 20-80. And that's going to be crazy. But that's what we're working on this year. Getting rid of the illegals, finding all the fraudsters, cutting off the funding for their little fucking campaigns to run shit campaigns where they just call everybody they don't like Nazis. And dehumanize, because as we all know from listening to them bitch about dehumanization, that's a bad thing. Be interesting. Be interesting to see if we can make that happen. But right now, what we are doing, this stage of the second Civil War, what we're doing is we are reducing our enemy's ability to fight. That is the name of the game for the first year. We are reducing our foreign adversaries' ability to fight. And right now, this year, I think we are going to be heavily looking within and reducing our enemy's ability to fight. And that'll be very cool. Because once they can't fight very much, then a whole lot of the fighting will stop. Right? It's the same fundamental thing, though. We're cutting off the money flow so that the terrorists can't be funded to go out and do terrorism, be they foreign or domestic. Yeah, I just thought that'd be fun. I came up with a little visual aid, and so I got visual aids. Wait.